Episode 34 of Uncle Beni, The Visitor's Grace. It was a brief holiday, and the house was unusually full because Uncle Beni's niece and nephew, Aliya and Tommy, had come to stay with him, his wife Clara, and their two children, Rose and Caleb. On the afternoon they arrived, the house buzzed with a rare energy. Rose and Caleb, eager for company, acted as the perfect hosts, hauling suitcases and showing their cousins to their rooms with wide, welcoming smiles. Downstairs, the atmosphere was quieter. Uncle Beni sat with his brother Fred, the two men trading updates on life until the sun began to dip. I have to get going, Fred said, checking his watch. Maggie worries if I'm on the road too late. I understand, Uncle Beni nodded, walking him toward the door. Kids, come and say goodbye to your uncle. The hallway thundered with footsteps. Rose and Caleb led the charge, with Aliya and Tommy trailing behind to bid their father farewell. As Fred's car pulled out of the driveway, the evening settled into a domestic rhythm, but one that was about to turn cold for Caleb. Back in the living room, Uncle Beni decided to engage the children with a series of logic puzzles. He began tossing out riddles and mathematical sequences. Tommy, quick-witted and eager to impress, shouted out the answers almost before Uncle Beni could finish the questions. Excellent, Tommy, very sharp, Uncle Beni praised, his eyes beaming with pride. Caleb leaned forward, his hand halfway raised, his voice small but hopeful. What about me, Dad? Asked me one. But the question hung in the air, unanswered. Uncle Beni's phone chimed, and he immediately took the call, turning his back to the group. The room fell into an awkward silence. When Uncle Beni finally hung up, he didn't look at Caleb. He turned straight back to Tommy. All right, Tommy, let's see if you can solve this next one. Caleb's hand dropped. The excitement he had felt earlier vanished, replaced by a heavy, hollow feeling in his chest. I'm tired, Caleb whispered, though no one was really listening. I think I'll just go to sleep. He walked upstairs alone, leaving the laughter of the living room behind. The next morning, the group headed to the supermarket. The aisles were bright and crowded. As Uncle Beni grabbed a large metal trolley, Tommy's eyes lit up. Uncle Beni, can I ride inside? Of course, jump in, Uncle Beni laughed, hustling the boy into the basket. Caleb stood frozen by the cereal aisle, watching his father push Tommy with a lightness he hadn't seen in years. The memory of being told he was too old or too serious for such things stunk. Dad, Caleb said, his voice trembling slightly. You never let me ride in the trolley. You always say it's for work, not play. How come Tommy gets to? Uncle Beni didn't stop walking. Because, Caleb, Tommy is a visitor in our home. We treat guests with special care. Caleb stopped walking entirely. Then I'd prefer to be a visitor in our home too, he said firmly. It seems more enjoyable than being your son. Uncle Beni stopped the trolley and turned around, the stink of the words hitting him harder than any logic puzzle ever could. What do you mean by that? There's never any fun in our house, Caleb said, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. It's always work and seriousness, nothing else. Rose stepped up beside her brother, finding her courage. Whenever we ask to just play, you tell us to focus. It feels like we only matter when we are being sharp. The hum of the supermarket refrigerators seemed to grow louder in the silence that followed. Uncle Beni looked at his children, really looked at them, and saw the exhaustion behind their young eyes. He realized he had been so focused on sharpening their minds that he had forgotten to nourish their spirits. He knelt down so he was eye level with Caleb and Rose. I am so sorry, he whispered, his voice thick with genuine remorse. Your mother and I, We thought we were preparing you for the world, but we forgot that you are already in a world that should be happy. We've been too strict. Uncle Benny stood up and pulled them both into a brief, firm hug. From now on, the visitor's grace applies to everyone. We will play, we will laugh, but, he added with a small knowing wink, we must still remember that balance is key. Too much play makes the work harder, and work is how we take care of each other. The walk to the checkout line felt different. The tension had evaporated. As they left the shop, Caleb and Rose weren't just relieved, they felt seen. In that moment, they understood something important. It was okay to speak up when something felt unfair, and it was okay to want joy, not just responsibility. And Uncle Benny, standing beside them, understood something even deeper. Children do not only need to be taught how to think, but also how to feel valued, included, and happy. That day, Uncle Benny had taught his children about balance, but he learned something greater. Though he had always known it, it had never fully come to him until that moment with Rose and Caleb. For children remember not just what they are taught, but how they are treated. Keep enjoying the episodes of Uncle Benny at unclebenny.wordpress.com.